Hi folks, I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower, and this is, really another Christian whistleblower revelation. We always do our scripted programs, and we finished up the demystifying Revelation, as we went through all the way through Revelation. And we finished up the Apostle Paul Antichrist because we went all the way through the book. And this week we have hit on Revelations. I put a playlist up of Revelations, Words of Knowledge and Revelations, and that's mainly just from this week, and today is another one. And of course, before we go any further, I'd like to wish you a happy human torture, human sacrifice, and zombie resurrection weekend. So enjoy your Bloodfest, enjoy your blood magic ritual, your annual blood magic ritual. But today we don't want to talk about that, and I thought about talking about that, but it's been done before, and other people have talked about it and have covered it sufficiently, so we're not even going to worry about that. But one thing that I want to talk about today, and of course this is above the flat circle, and this is probably going to be a two-part presentation, maybe three, but I think at least two-part. And the inspiration, I shouldn't say the inspiration, but the thing that clicked my mind, it was interesting because I do a lot of meditating, and of course I sleep, as we all do, and I have these things, because really sleep is just prolonged meditation in many ways, especially if before you fall asleep you're programming your mind and your subconscious with the right questions, like, okay, I want to learn about, I've been thinking about this, tell me more about that tonight, and you set yourself up. And I've been thinking about, this whole round earth, flat earth. I've been thinking about reincarnation. I've been thinking about time. I've been thinking about ascension. And many of these things are beginning to pop in my head as far as answers for them. And I know I'm late to the party, but I watched the season 1 of True Detective, of course with Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson. And there's the famous, I guess infamous, or at least very popular little soliloquy there where the McConaughey character, I think his name is Rust Cole, he talks about, while he's tearing those beer cans apart and making little men out of them, he talks about the flat circle, and he talks about nothing in this world is resolved. And I find myself agreeing with him and the philosopher from where he took this information, but I agree with them with some qualifiers. So just to put things in context, let's take a look at the philosopher that the McConaughey character is quoting and summarizing in this, what is really a very interesting soliloquy. And I want to focus on two things. Number one, nothing in this world is ever resolved. And then, of course, the philosopher that made this statement, and that McConaughey's character is taking off on, said some other things, so we're going to focus on those as well. But let's take a look at this philosopher to put it into a proper context for our discussion here this morning. So the philosopher in question is Friedrich Nietzsche. Friedrich Nietzsche. And Nietzsche, as you can probably guess, and by the way, lived from 1844 through 1900, so lived to see the turn of the century, which is rather interesting. But he was a German, a Deutsche. He was a philosopher, cultural critic. He was a poet, Latin and Greek scholar, and most people agree, and many of you that have had a classic education probably have heard of Nietzsche, because he exerted a great deal of influence and had a profound influence, as Wikipedia says here, upon Western history and Western philosophy and our modern intellectual history. And he really did. And not only that, but he had one hell of a mustache. And Nietzsche, maybe one of his most famous quotes that doesn't even that often get attributed to him, it was Nietzsche who said, "God is dead." And of course, a great rallying cry for those that are against Pauline religion, and a great rallying cry for those that are for Pauline religion, because you use it as a, as a rallying cry to gather up the troops. But Nietzsche said that God is dead. And if you watch the True Detective, you see that that's kind of the theme that the character was going for. And you've got to understand, and you've got to realize, and you've got to begin to look, and I say gotta, and you don't gotta, but if you want to be progressing in your spirituality, you should. And I know that bothers some of you little New Age loving lighters. You should never tell anyone what they should do. You know what? Go watch something else. And don't even email me, because I don't want to read it. But at any rate, you should begin to notice, if you watch television, I don't watch much of it. I don't even have cable hooked up. But if you are awake and aware at all, you will see, and I think even more so in the popular programs, you'll see Easter eggs, or you'll see thoughts, enlightenments, clues as to what's going on being dropped into these popular programs. And if you look at this, and if you're watching for it, you will see it, you will find it, and it helps you understand, it helps you know. And really this whole discussion of the flat circle, and this whole discussion of nothing gets resolved in this world, is almost out of context within the production of the show. But if you're awake at all, it automatically grabs you, and you should learn to watch and listen for these things within popular media, because they're little signposts along the way that let you know that, hey, they know, and they know that we know, and they know that we know that they know. So it's interesting to keep up with it in that sense. But I want to talk about, for just a second, Nietzsche's assertion that God is dead. And I want to say to you that I agree with him, with a certain modifier. But let's go back to nothing in this world. This is a world where nothing is resolved. That's a famous quote also from Nietzsche, and that's one that was directly quoted by the McConaughey character in the show. But we'll get to that one. Let me talk about God is dead. I agree with Nietzsche that God is dead, with certain qualifiers. The true gods, the Elohim, as far as we know, and there could be more beyond the Elohim, but the true gods as we know them, the Elohim, are certainly not dead. They are alive and well. However, God even is not dead. We're talking about the God of the Bible. We're talking about the God of the Old Testament, the God of the New Testament. We're talking about the Lord. We're talking about Yahweh. We're talking about Jehovah. We're talking about Marduk, the one that is sponsoring this great blood magic weekend. It's blood magic weekend in Roman Catholicism. It's blood magic weekend in Roman Christianity. Happy human torture. Happy human sacrifice. And happy zombie resurrection weekend to you all. Enjoy it. Enjoy the bloodbath. Enjoy the blood magic. Enjoy your torture. Enjoy your human sacrifice. And enjoy your zombie resurrection. Have a great weekend, you guys. I wish that you would just forget about all of the blood sacrifice and just focus on the bunnies. The bunnies and the bunnies will be much more helpful to you than the whole blood sacrifice rituals that you go through. But the gods aren't dead. And even God, Yahweh's not dead. But that rat bastard's dying. And that's why I agree with Nietzsche. The God of the Bible, the Lord, is dying. The God of the Bible, Yahweh, is dying. The God of the Bible, Jehovah, is dying. The God of the Bible, Marduk, is dying. Yaldabaoth is dying. He's really on his last legs. He's dying. And he's doing everything he can to seem like he's stronger when he's really dying. I'll tell you who Yahweh is right now. I'll tell you who Jehovah is right now. I'll tell you who the Lord is right now. Jehovah is Kim Jong-un. Yahweh is Kim Jong-un. The Lord is Kim Jong-un. The fat parody of a leader of North Korea. That's who the Lord is. About ready to be blotted out of existence. About ready to die, having been deprived of much of his power. He wants to seem like he's strong. He wants to seem like he's mean. He wants to seem like he's bad. He wants to try to make himself relevant because he's dying. And of course, you know that President Trump has sent the USS Carl Vinson strike group over there to help Kim Jong-un with his suicidal plans. And guess what? There's a Carl Vinson strike group that's also after the dying Yahweh, the dying Jehovah, the dying Lord. And boom, there it is. This is the Kim Jong-un strike force. The Christian whistleblower. Talking about Apostle Paul Antichrist. Talking about Jesus, Yeshua, the Christ beyond the Bible. Talking about the mystery of Revelation, the second coming, Jesus fallacies. This is what it's all about. This is the Carl Vinson strike force. These books that we're publishing, that are taking down and that are ensuring the death and the destruction of this God that is dying. And by the way, all these books are available right now for just $1.99. That's $1.99. And you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of them. 9 or 10. But they're available. This is the Carl Vinson strike force that is taking down Yeshua. Excuse me, taking down Yahweh, taking down the Lord, taking down Jehovah, taking down Yaldabaoth. And of course, you're looking at the other strike force, part of the strike force, and of course, that's this right here, the YouTube channel that is taking down. And you need to see these things. The 144,000 is the 9. We were all there. These things are so important. We got the playlist. See, this is the one I just did. The words of knowledge and special revelations. We've got the false apostle Paul section here. We've got the New Testament corruption section. We're exposing the Lord. We've got the Jesus fallacies from Bethlehem to Second Coming. This is where you'll find your human sacrifice and blood magic weekend. And of course, here again, blood sacrifice and saviors, your human sacrifice and blood sacrifice weekend is talked about in here. Exorcism and the paranormal, and also demystifying Revelation. So this is the Carl Vinson strike force that is bringing down the Lord. And of course, the Lord is the God that is dead. And even many commentators, as I was studying this, feel that Nietzsche wasn't speaking in atheistic terms, but he was speaking about the death of the God of Abrahamic religion. And they actually said that. And I don't know if it was in here or somewhere else. But yeah, he had a critique of religion and Christianity and the death of God. And it's talking about the death of the God of the Bible. because he has become exposed as a fraud. He's become exposed as a baby killer, woman killer, child killer, blood magic, jealous, maniacal, psychopathic, fallen rat bastard. And so I agree with Nietzsche. God is not dead, but he's dying. He's on his last legs, the God of the Bible. And the gods, the Elohim, they are alive and well. But it is my job to bring down the rat bastard God. He's dying, and we are here to finish the job. So, that might have been a little bit heavy, but it is what it is. So it's Nietzsche is the one that said there's nothing resolved in this world. Nietzsche is the one that said God is dead. And Nietzsche is the one that popularized the talk about the flat circle, time being a flat circle, that Russ Cole was talking about on True Detective. So we've talked about Nietzsche. We've talked about God is dead. Let's look now at the idea of nothing gets resolved in this world. Let me take a deep breath and regroup here just a little bit. Okay, so let's get into the whole situation now that we're talking about. And you can see there that time, we're talking about above the flat circle. It's a Christian whistleblower revelation. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian whistleblower. And of course, we just talked about how I agree that God is dead, at least in the sense that the God of the Bible is dying. And that's what we're talking about there. But as we look at this, that this is a world where nothing is resolved. That's something Nietzsche said, and of course Nietzsche of the God is dead fame. And I do agree with that as well, with a modifier, because this is a world where nothing is resolved. Nothing that is of any eternal consequence. Nothing here can ever give you eternal resolution. Nothing here can give you eternal resolution. So if you're looking to the government, if you're looking to religion, if you're looking to anything to give you resolution in this world, it simply cannot happen, because this world is not built for resolution. This world is not built to give you resolution. This is a world where rather we as people are brought to the place of being enabled to effect our own resolution. Think of that. There is no resolution in this world because this world is not built to bring resolution or to provide resolution. This world is built, and we're going to show you this in the next episode, why that's true. So I agree with Nietzsche, and I agree with Russ Cole, that this is a world where nothing is resolved. That is, nothing of eternal consequences, because nothing here, nothing of this world can give you resolution. And this is a world that is brought to the place where we're being brought to the place where we're enabled to effect our own resolution. And this is because time is a flat circle, and it's really all about perspective. So on our next broadcast, we're going to get into the flat circle itself. We're going to get into time. We're going to get into what is above this flat circle. We're going to get into round earth, flat earth. We're going to get into time. We're going to get into what this is all about. Very, very interesting stuff. So today, of course, God is dead in the sense that the God of the Bible is dying. Yahweh Jehovah, rat bastard, Yahweh Jehovah, rat bastard Lord, dying. And this is not a world where you can find a resolution, because it's not a world built for resolution. It's a world to bring you to the place where you're enabled to bring about your own resolution. So deep thoughts to ponder this weekend. And we will be back with you on Monday with part 2 of a Christian whistleblower revelation above the flat circle. Until then, please subscribe to this channel. Please like this video. Please share this video. And please continue to watch, because what we're hoping is that you will come to the place where you begin to unindoctrinate yourself.